Всем здорово, с вами Шустрый, мы продолжаем проходить Steelrising, и мы остановились на диалоге.
What were Monsieur Mesmer's theories?
He is a proponent of a theory called animal magnetism. He claimed to be able to channel a purported universal healing fluid by passing his hands over patients and using magnets.
He also cobbled together a whole array of mad devices, each stranger than the last. Unfortunately, despite all his attempts, I don't know that he ever cured anyone.
What happened during Monsieur Mesmer's treatment sessions?
Oh, they were quite a spectacle to behold. Imagine well-born ladies afflicted with perfectly imaginary illnesses. A dimly lit room where incense has been burned to intoxicate the soul and cloud your vision. Amiable servants, half-dressed, gliding from countess to duchess to the sound of a sensual melody. And the great Mesmer, a doctor with wandering hands, presiding over the wonderful scene. Oh, you should have seen them. Those grand ladies moaning, crying, and falling into a swoon, clinging to that strange tub. Du théâtre, ma chère. Pure theater.
Я понял. А ты что скажешь?
So how is Monsieur Marat?
I haven't met him yet.
He is your only chance to reach the Bastille, Aegis. You must speak to him. He's holed up in the quarries of Montmartre, hiding from the Marquis de Lafayette.
As for the lanterns...
Did Monsieur de Laclos tell you the secret of his explosive cannonball?
No. We didn't talk about it.
That's a pity. Without his help, our strategy is doomed to failure. Let's see. I know he's close to Monsieur Marat, the patriotic journalist. He's currently in hiding in the quarries of Montmartre. But please do not breathe a word of this to the Marquis de Lafayette. Those two are at daggers drawn.
Свет.
It would certainly end in a bloodbath.
Дверь закрыла?
Were you present when the Estates General was dissolved?
Oui, madame. I had a front row seat. I witnessed what it cost to defy the crown. We laid bare before the king the abject misery of his subjects. It was more than he could suffer. So he had the people's representatives dispersed by means of bayonets. At least we only had to contend with soldiers made of flesh and blood, positively angelic compared to the machines that have swept through Paris.
Were you present when the Estates General was dissolved?
Oui, madame. I had a front row seat. I witnessed what it cost to defy the crown. We laid bare before the king the abject misery of his subjects. It was more than he could suffer. So he had the people's representatives dispersed by... At least we only had to contend with soldiers made of flesh and blood, positively angelic compared to the...
As for the lanterns...
Did Monsieur de Laclos tell you the secret of his...
No.
Ну, это уже
Let's see.
было.
I know he's close to... He's currently in hiding, but please do... It would certainly end...
Goodbye,
Закончить.
Monsieur de Robespierre.
Did you find out what Cagliostro was up to near the Tuileries?
No, not yet.
Remember what Monsieur de Mirabeau told us? He said the Count looked extremely busy near the Tuileries.
Goodbye, Monsieur B. Monsieur Lavoisier,
What can I do for you, Aegis?
the clues I found at the warehouse suggest that the gunpowder was moved to the Bastille.
Diable. You must find a way to get there and put an end to this threat.
Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
Так, и что, все что ли?
So how is Monsieur Marat?
I haven't met him yet.
He is your only chance to reach the Bastille, Aegis. You must speak to him. He's holed up in the quarries of Montmartre, hiding from the Marquis de Lafayette.
As for the lantern...
Так, ну это я уже было,
I know
это
he's coming. It would serve-
было.
Goodbye,
Всё,
Monsieur de
идем дальше.
Robespierre.
Have you found my mother?
No, not yet.
Remember, rumor has it she lives in the slums of the Marais, in the shadow of the Bastille.
Goodbye, Monsieur le Comte.
Так, ну все, короче, идем вперед. Сейчас я попробую еще вот с этими быстренько
Have you
поговорю.
visited the farm in Gros Caillou?
No, not yet. See you later, Bat.
Так, надо туда пойти.
Monseigneur.
What can I do for you, Regis?
Goodbye, Monseigneur.
Allez en paix.
What did you learn about this mysterious workshop?
I have not yet been there. Goodbye, mon père. Monsieur le Marquis.
I'm listening, Aegis.
Goodbye, Monsieur le
Так,
Marquis.
ну все, получается, со всеми поговорили. Можно идти на задание номер 2. А это задание у нас... Так. Выследить Калиостро, найти мастерскую Казева Бальзама. Господи. Второстепенное задание — оценить место проведения эксперимента. Угу. Посмотреть место проведения эксперимента. Вот поэтому я и сломал раньше эту дверь. Четыреста два.
The field with the dead tree. Good. I'm nearly there. Don't move.
Ah, that cursed dancer! May you be devoured by rust!
Ага. Четыреста 90. Ой, не дал ударить. 450. Так, теперь как забраться? О, что-то я тороплюсь. А куда же дальше-то идти? Ага, вот через крышу. Блин. Так, надо масленку поставить. О, как это взять? Ох. А что ж такое?
Slipped through my fingers. Fortunately, he was unable to take his things with him.
Месье граф, за кого вы меня принимаете? Я вполне способен читать между строк. Я вижу вас насквозь, будто одной моей ссылки вам было недостаточно. Теперь вы трепете мне нервы на расстоянии. Я требую, месье, чтобы вы прекратили мне писать. Смею заверить, от меня вы не узнаете ничего. Все свои секреты я унесу в могилу Кроме того, я в последний раз строго запрещаю вам использовать полученные от меня знания в своих преступных целях. Я буду молиться о спасении вашей души. Это все, что я могу для вас сделать. Доктор Фрац. Так, а кто это? Где он? Кто-то кидает, я не могу понять. А, вот отсюда аж. Так, а я тут уже был. Так, ищем дальше. Блин, как я не заметил эту штучку.
The sleepless slaves. They meant the automats. Feeding off the blood of innocent people. Monsieur Raymond was completely mistaken. I must inform him.
А роботы на крови. Так, здесь ничего. Здесь у нас выследить калиостро, найти бальзам мое. А здесь у нас что? Вот это рассказать об увиденном.
Monsieur Raymond.
Go on, Aegis.
I went to the Hotel de Massiac as agreed. What I discovered goes beyond your darkest conjectures. The club's members have no intention of merely depriving their slaves of rest. Rather, with the king's support, they plan to replace them with automat harvesters. The Count of Cagliostro is behind the plan.
Ma foi. But such a plan would certainly only improve the lot of these unfortunate people.
You are mistaken, mon père. If the planters get their way, they will have a greater need of slaves than ever. Only this time, they intend to slaughter them to power their machines.
Quelle abomination!
Par tous les saints.
4 days ago, the Paris Guard captured 100 black people. They were to be sacrificed as part of an experiment to test the effectiveness of the automat harvesters. Luckily, I was able to prevent the massacre.
Where are they now?
In a place they call the Dépôt des Noirs. I don't know where it is, but I managed to get the key. It bears the inscription, Tour du Diable.
The Devil's Tower is a prison in Vincennes, within the chateau walls.
That's 3 leagues from here. We'll only be able to free the prisoners once we're able to move freely ourselves.
At least they were spared the fate that the king and his accomplices had planned for them.
And what will you do with the 2 servants you employ, Monsieur Raymond?
I will continue to treat them well, as I always have.
However, under the laws you insist on following, they will become slaves again the moment they leave the kingdom for Saint-Domingue.
Certainly not, Monsieur de Robespierre. What kind of a man would I be if what I have heard had not opened my eyes? The planters of Massiac have been proven to be nothing but avaricious murderers. I thought I was dealing with opposition, but now I discover them to be vile enemies, from whom it would be vain to expect any compromise. From this day on, I will fight against their interests with all my strength, and will not lay down my arms until the last slave in the Empire has been freed.
Rest assured, then, that the people will fight by your side, Monsieur Raymond.
That's the spirit, my friends. Vive l'égalité. What did you learn about this mysterious workshop?
I have not yet been there. Goodbye, mon père.
Так, теперь...
Monsieur Raymond.
Go on, Aegis.
See you later, Beth.
Did you find out what Cagliostro was up to near the Tuileries?
No, not yet.
Remember what Monsieur de Mirabeau told us? He said the Count looked extremely busy near the Tuileries.
Good. Monsieur Lavoisier,
What can I do for you, Aegis?
the clues I found at the warehouse suggest that the gunpowder was moved to the Bastille.
Diable. You must find a way to get there and put an end to this threat.
Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
So how is Monsieur Marat?
I haven't met him yet.
He is your only chance to reach the Bastille, Aegis. You must speak to him. He's holed up in the quarries of Montmartre, hiding from the Marquis de Lafayette.
Goodbye, Monsieur de Robespierre.
Короче, все одно и то же.
Have you found my mother?
No, not yet.
Remember, rumor has it she lives in the slums of the Marais, in the shadow of the Bastille.
Goodbye, Monsieur le Comte.
Ну что, мини-задание сделали, идем дальше. И последнее задание. 2 последних задания после второстепенных. Тюильри. В какой-то интимной вагончик в каретах. Успел подкрасться. Да что ж так? Ну, сейчас пошел замес. Так, здесь я уже был, я это помню. Блин, тут тупик. Как пройти туда? Короче, не в ту сторону я пошел. Ага. Ё-моё. Блин. Зараза тебе тут. А, вот так. Фух. А что ж такое? Что здесь вообще в этой яме? Хорош. Блин, это нажал опять. Копилочка такая. Ого. Хорош. Что-то я не понимаю. Куда дальше? А, это я типа в начало прибежал. Это не то начало. Я уже запутался, где я, шо я. Ага. Так, ну по идее я, наверное, на пути.
You monster. What do you want with me? Wasn't it enough for you to steal my dancer?
I'm merely obeying the king, mademoiselle. Don't be afraid, you and your beloved machine will soon be reunited. I give you my word. Voila, here we are. Do you see that window? That's where she's waiting for you. Sale petite peste. I suggest you don't try that again.
Atanias, what could have happened to her in this workshop? This notebook appears to be very old. I should show it to Abbe Grégoire.
Только человек, который хорошо разбирается в древних языках, может расшифровать этот древний документ. Когти. Опа. И жетон кареты. Что вообще дает жетон кареты? То есть я могу карету вызывать, а как это делать? Что-то я еще не разобрался, как это. То есть вот так, что ли? Нет. Так, а это что у нас тут? Месье граф, мне жаль, что вы столкнулись с непредвиденными трудностями, о которых писали. Вы обязаны справиться с ними в ближайшее время, иначе все наши планы окажутся под угрозой срыва. Если танцовщица и правда покинула Сен-Клу и направляется в Париж, попутно устраняя наши машины, я приказываю немедля установить причину ее неподчинения вашим приказам и противостояния нам. Постарайтесь не утратить моего доверия. Людовик. Короче, я типа я играю за женщину-робота, которая одна противостоит железному восстанию в 18 веке. Я, Людовик, милостью Божией, король Франции и Наварры, разрешаю месье Дзюпизе Бальзамо, он же Жозеф Бальзамо, рожденному в Пельмо 2 июля 1743, полноправно и при любых обстоятельствах называться именем Александр и титулом граф Калиостро. Да. Виктор де Рикетти, маркиз де Мираба. Прошу вас связаться с полицейским города Грасса, чтобы мою дочь Лизу маркизу де Кабри доставили в монастырь по улице Тракастель. Пусть он передаст ее визитанткам каким-то. Они позаботятся о том, чтобы Луиза провела всю оставшуюся жизнь в молитвах и служении Богу. Только такой ценой бедная девушка сможет с Божьей помощью очистить свою душу. Надпись на конверте гласит: для передачи генералу-лейтенанту полиции. Она была просто танцовщица, они ее заперепрограммировали, и она сейчас спасает им жизнь. Монами. Жирова.
You'll stay with me always, n'est-ce pas? Without you, mon ami, I'd be all alone.
This box is covered in astronomical symbols. It's no use. I can't get it open. I should show this to Monsieur B.
Месье граф, мне по-прежнему не ясны ваши истинные намерения. Мы оба помним о наших разногласиях, которые вынудили меня бежать. Несмотря на разделяющее нас расстояние, та ужасная сцена с вашим участием до сих пор стоит у меня перед глазами. А теперь вы просите меня усовершенствовать мое искусство внушения? Полагаете, я дам тому, кто творит страшные вещи, способ лишить невинного человека воли и превратить в покорного слугу? Это наводит меня на мысль, что вы, месье, повредились рассудком. Доктор Франц Месмер. Повредились. Что надо было так написать? Там, ну сошли с ума бы написал, повредились. Повредились рассудком. Ну все получается. Как же эту монетку использовать? Так, подожди, она у меня, наверное, есть в инвентаре. Так, берем монетку. Это устройство активирует... Ага, тело возвращается к карете самым коротким путем. Отлично. Короче, любой сюда ставлю. Набережная Лувра. Нет. Так, теперь нам осталось сходить, показать штуку месье Бои и аббату Григуару. Короче, Бои и Григуар нам нужен. Ага, вот они помечены. Мне даже заморачиваться не надо.
Can I help you, Aegis?
What is the significance of these objects steeped in memories?
Nemes. I have reread every work that I have on them. Pages that have remained unintelligible to this day. These echoes go back to the beginning of time. To that fateful day in ancient Greece when some dark magician took it into his head to bind a soul to an inanimate object. You see, Aegis, there is nothing more diabolical, nothing more unnatural than this sorcery. The soul is the very essence of the divine. It refuses to submit to such an abomination and resists, eventually breaking. The earliest necromancers whose works have survived through the centuries all describe the same phenomenon. When a soul is fragmented, 3 shards of memory are torn from its consciousness and take shelter in 3 objects that the victim held dear. It's as if these memories wished to remain bound to the mortal who had held them until then.
What is the significance of these objects steeped in memories?
Nemes. I have reread every work that I have on them. Pages that have remained unintelligible to this day. These echoes go back to the beginning of time, to that fateful day in ancient Greece when some dark magician took it into his head to bind a soul to an inanimate object. You see, Aegis, there is nothing more diabolical, nothing more unnatural than this sorcery. The soul is the very essence of the divine. It refuses to submit to such an abomination and resists, eventually breaking. The earliest necromancers whose works have survived through the centuries all describe the same phenomenon. When a soul is fragmented, 3 shards of memory are torn from its consciousness and take shelter in 3 objects that the victim held dear. It's as if these memories wish to remain bound to the mortal who had held them until then.
I found this notebook written in Latin.
Indeed. Medieval Latin, to be precise. Oh, hold on. Bon sang. Aegis, what a find. This handwriting, I would recognize it anywhere. It's in Nicholas Flamel's own hand. Give me some time to study this, and I'll tell you what I'm able to glean from it.
Have you finished reading the notebook, mon père?
Yes, Aegis, and what I learned from it puzzles me. In this diary, Flamel tells of 3 journeys. 3 journeys into what he calls the in-between. A strange world filled with wandering souls. Tormented spirits that are unable to ascend to heaven.
This world. It's where Cagliostro's victims were trapped until I freed them.
En effet, I believe you're right. But that's not all. Flamel planned to return there a 4th time. He wrote this in the final paragraph, in his handwriting, dated 21st of March 1418. That was the day before he died, Aegis. What if his body died while his soul was traveling through limbo? What if he were trapped, a prisoner in this purgatory? Aegis, because of your unique nature, we have an incredible opportunity.
What do you mean, mon père?
If the soul that animates you has been bound to the automaton that serves as its vessel, then it can be separated from it too. And if this were the case, the soul would travel to purgatory, where Cagliostro entraps the souls of his victims.
Hold on. Are you trying to convince me to go and find Nicholas Flamel?
I'm offering you a chance to speak to the man who discovered the Philosopher's Stone. Surely you won't pass it up.
Assuming I agree to venture into purgatory, do I even have a chance of finding him there?
Certainly. According to this journal, the soul flies to the zenith of the place where it left the body of the deceased. Or that of the pilgrim, in this case. If Flamel's soul is trapped in purgatory, as we've guessed, you'll need to go to the house where he drew his dying breath.
Is it still standing?
Of course. It's on Rue de Montmorency, in the quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. You can get there via the cemetery of the Église Saint-Jacques.
And how do you plan to free my spirit from this automat?
We would simply need to break the bond between them. To do this, we would need to stop your machinery. For a short time, of course. We don't want to lose you, ma chère. As for the rest, it will be a question of mechanics, chemistry, or electric currents, or something or other. Therein lies the problem. This is far beyond my comprehension. But it is fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier could shed some light on the matter.
Goodbye, mon père.
И последний у нас остался. А, еще один появился, блин.
Monsieur Raymond.
Go on, Aegis.
What is the aim of this organization?
We publish articles and exert our influence on those who are in a position to improve the lot of our unfortunate brethren. Our numbers grow by the day, and we have many illustrious members, such as the Comte de Mirabeau and the Marquis de Lafayette. But it was Monsieur Brissot and the Abbot that founded the group.
Good old Brissot. Shouldn't he be here by now?
Yes, mon père. He should have arrived hours ago. Alas, there's been no sign of him.
I hope to God that no misfortune has befallen him.
What fate does the kingdom reserve for those with black skin?
According to tradition, Any enslaved person who sets foot on French soil is freed.
This rule is most problematic in the eyes of planters in the colonies, who would seek to maintain their precious labor force.
This is why, for the past 12 years, no black people have been allowed to disembark in any of the kingdom's ports. Those who accompany their masters on the journey are imprisoned in the Admiralty's jails the moment they leave the ship. As for those who manage to evade the authorities, they live in fear of the raids carried out by the Marshalsea.
Are you not subject to these laws, Monsieur Raymond?
I am fortunate enough to have been born a subject of the king through my father, and also to have received an education, and to be wealthy.
Naturally, that makes all the difference.
You are quite a long way from home, Monsieur Raymond.
I haven't been back to Saint-Domingue in nearly 5 years. I left my most trusted men in charge of overseeing my indigo plantation. I came to France with the aim of having an audience with the king. I hoped to convince him to use his automats for agricultural work. I was of the belief that this was the best way to ease the suffering of our enslaved brethren. Alas, it was all for naught. I was only able to get an audience with the Minister of the Navy, and even that was granted reluctantly. Later, when the king convened the Estates General, my hopes were renewed. I saw it as an opportunity to make our voices heard. And then, mon Dieu, what a disaster, Aegis. What a complete disaster.
See you later, perhaps.
Блин, я к тому подошел, надо было к этому подходить.
Monsieur B.
Тайная шкатулка.
I found this box with astronomical symbols on it. I believe it belongs to Vaucanson's daughter.
Athenais' secret box. I built it with my own hands. It was my gift to her on her 15th birthday.
I wasn't able to open it.
Naturellement. Athenais and I are the only ones who know how. Allow me. You must arrange the planets the way they were aligned on the day of Athenais' birth. Voila, like this.
What's this locket?
Athenais is always wearing this. It contains a portrait of her late mother. She said it was her most cherished possession in all the world. To think, the poor child never knew her own mother.
You monster! What did you do to her?